take a leaf out of the minister's book, and I'm just going to chat to you for a second. And actually, she said something very interesting about things being invisible and not really seeing the stuff in the background. And that's why I think this is a really important day, because you know, when they asked me to donate the dress, my thoughts turned immediately, as they so often do, to Martina Navratilova. And in particular because recently I was speaking to at the Out of the Past exhibition at the National Gallery, and so I was thinking about Martina again, because you see, here's the point. 1979, some of you are old enough to remember it. Hi, Tony Walsh. And 1979 was inarguably the gayest year ever. In 1979, the whole of this country was dancing to, you know, a leather man, a cowboy, 5 gentlemen from San Francisco, mustachioed, singing about extolling the virtues of the YMCA. It was also the year that Martina Navratilova first won Wimbledon. And why is that important, and what is the connection to here? God, no, I'll tell you. You see, Martina Navratilova first went into Wimbledon in 1978. Now, she didn't win, but those of you who are old enough to remember will remember that in 1978, we had one television channel in this country. There was no RT2, it was just called RTE, because there was no 2 to differentiate it from. And so we all watched whatever was on the TV. And when I say we all, I mean we all did. You did, I did, my mother did, my granny did, people in school did, the dogs did, because there was nothing else to do, especially in Ballinrobe, County Mayo. And so we were intimately aware of every detail of the lives of these glamorous tanned foreigners who appeared on our TV screens for 2 weeks every year. In Ballinrobe, County Mayo in 1978, everyone could pronounce and spell Yvonne Goolagong. Bjorn Borg. And in 1978, this young woman called Martina Navratilova from inside the Iron Curtain competed, and she didn't win, but she had made a little mark on my young, malleable mind. And the next year, by the time she returned in 1979, she was very well known to all of us. We could all spell and pronounce Martina Navratilova. And that year she beat my then favorite, Chris Evert, in the final to win her first Wimbledon final. Now, there's a funny thing about Martina Navratilova. Until 1979, the summer of 1979, nobody in Ballinrobe, County Mayo had ever heard of what a lesbian was. Now, we already knew a lot about Martina. She had come from behind the Iron Curtain. She was incredibly talented. She was a tennis genius. And she was incredibly brave because she walked out of the US Open, walked into Manhattan, walked into an immigration office and asked for asylum. And that's all we knew about her. She left everything she knew and everyone she knew behind and moved to America to a new life. And she was brave, and she was a little masculine, and she had veiny arms, and there was something about Martina. And the other thing about her was, she was a lesbian, and she said so. And Ballinrobe, County Mayo, was shocked. But even though they were shocked, nobody said much bad about Martina Navratilova, because she wasn't ashamed of it. And people didn't say much bad about her. What could you say to her? She wasn't ashamed of it. She'd already admitted, so you could hardly call her, shout dyke at her, because she would say, yes, I've already pointed that out. And then she'd say, and I'm the world's greatest female tennis player. I've won Wimbledon, I'm rich, I'm famous, and you are driving a Ford Cortina. And that left a stunning impression on me, because for the first time in my life, I was aware of someone, now, on the television only, just a picture, but still on the television, reflecting back at me something that I was vaguely aware about myself, but couldn't quite name yet. Martina Navratilova reflected back a little bit of me at me, and it was a little bit of me that I'd never recognized before. And not only was she the first one to do that, but she was the first, and one of the only ones for many, many years to do it without any sense of shame. And it fucking floored me. And I have loved and worshipped Martina Navratilova ever since. We're Twitter friends now. And the funny thing is that for a long time after that, there was very few other reflections of light back at me. They were rare, few and far between. And I was desperate for any sign of them. I was always looking for them. And by the time I was an art student, I'm sorry, we all have a past we're ashamed of, but by the time I was an art student in the 80s in Dunleary, I was spending a lot of time in the National Gallery. This is what made me think of all of this. And I'd go around the National Gallery looking for other queers. Because I'd get the bus to 46A into town, and it was on a Saturday, there'd always be some grim and boring interchangeable group of teenagers who'd tell me I looked like a faggoty clown. And I was used to that. It was boring because it happened all the time. And then I'd go into the gallery, and every now and then I'd be looking at the background of a picture, maybe behind Jesus, or over a horse behind some king, and I'd see another faggoty clown. And I felt incredible about that because it reminded me, or let me know, that actually I'm meant to be fucking here. I'm not some glitch, chromosomal glitch. I'm not some little feck up that nature did, while they were sorting chromosomes or watching the TV and getting distracted. I'm meant to be here. People like me have been here throughout history. We've always been here, but we've never been at the forefront of these bloody pictures. We're always in the background entertaining the troops with 2 chicken drumsticks or something. I think I saw that bingo in the George once. And so for me, this exhibition is super important because when they asked me if I would give the dress, I thought, well, of course I'll give the dress. Because I want my dress to be Martina Navratilova. For some kid. So I think this is important in ways that you can't even imagine anymore, really, because it's impossible really to go back and remember what it was like when you were 15. But I remember going to these places when I was in school, and I always hated them. Sorry. I didn't feel any connection to them. And people sometimes think that's weird. Well, I'm Irish, and there's Irish history here, and that is true. And I have a family, and I have family history, but I also have a queer history. And it was hidden from us for all these years. And we were really good at it in this country because look at Roger Casement. The whole establishment trying to tell us he wasn't queer when all of us could look at him and of course he's queer. You couldn't make those diaries up. So I hope that this really is the beginning of a change where our queer history isn't hidden from us anymore, where it's out in the front sometimes too. Because my queer history is important to me as my Irish history is. It's as important to me as my family history is. I feel as queer as I feel Irish. More sometimes. Because of the internet. So why shouldn't Albert Smith be painted on a horse? I mean, you should be, and you would look fucking amazing. Why shouldn't Lydia Foy be in the National Gallery, or well, not in a museum just yet, but maybe entombed eventually. Yeah, like a pharaoh's tomb. You know what I mean? So let's continue this. I think it's amazing that you started this. I think it's no coincidence that you used to go to Hooray Henry's, and look what that led to. So, if we need to blame anybody, let's blame Hooray Henry's. The very first gay nightclub I ever ended up at, and I went home with a hairdresser with frosted tips and woke up in some a bed sit in Rat Mines, and I loved it. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you for looking after my dress. James David Seaver made the dress, designed the dress. He makes all of my dresses. He should be here somewhere. I hope he is. James, are you here somewhere? Yes, he's down the back. He's tiny and he's got big glasses. He is fucking thrilled that he has a dress in the museum. And I feel like I'm a bit young to be an exhibition piece just yet, or a museum piece, but I was delighted to give it, and I know it's going to be looked after much better here than I ever could have done. So thank you to the museum for starting something that I hope is going to be, I know will be a great success, and I know it's going to be important to a lot of people, and mean a lot to a lot of the young people that are brought here. Sometimes against their will. But I hope that, so every now and then, some 13-year-old boy will be dragged through here by his teacher, and then he'll see this purple dress with feathers trim on the neck, and he'll think, it could have been me.